Hey everyone, Matt from Total MTG here. Welcome to today's video. It's a new budget series. It's going to be 5 great cards for your collection that you probably won't believe are under $1. And under $1 makes it super budget for me. Now, these cards can be potentially used in different formats. I'm not sticking to just one format, so it could be used for standard cards, it could be modern, probably quite a few commander cards as well. So the first card we're looking at a big dragon wizard. It's Niv Mizzet Draco Genius. 2 double blue, double red. It's a 5/5 flyer dragon wizard. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you may draw a card. And it has for the Izzet colours of blue and red. When it deals, Niv Mizzet deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So you can keep pinging creatures or players just to draw a card. Seems an absolutely amazing commander. I have one of these in my collection. This is the Return to Ravnica printing. There's been 3 printers of this and it was dropped to rare as well. Now, there's lots of other types of Niv Mizzet as well. One that springs to mind is Niv Mizzet the Firemind, which is the same casting cost, but you get slightly less power and toughness. It's a 4/4. That has whenever you draw a card, Niv Mizzet the Firemind deals 1 damage to any target, but you have to tap that to draw a card, which is why I favour this Niv Mizzet Draco Genius, because late game, when you've got a lot of mana open in Commander, you can just pay those Izzet colours, pinging the damage around to target creature or player, and keep drawing cards. Now, if you've got anything on the field that potentially does damage when you draw as well, Niv Mizzet seems like a really good commander for me. I like big dragons as well. You could go Dragon Tribal, you can go spells, you can go so many different ways with Niv Mizzet Draco Genius. I think it's a really cool card to pick up and potentially have as your next Izzet commander. The next card we're looking at is an enchantment. 3 and a red, it's Mana Barbs. Mana Barbs looks, it's a pretty aggressive card. When a player taps a land for mana, Mana Barbs deals 1 damage to that player. So typical to like colours of red, if you're playing like maybe Rakdos or anything like that, that always seems to do damage to you, and this is no different. This will do damage to your opponents and do damage to you as well. So you could build this into a commander deck and put this into maybe an aggressive God of Forge deck or anything, Torbrand, anything that really, penalises your opponent. Mana Barbs is a great enchantment for that. Enchantments are always harder to remove as well, which is good for the game of Commander. When a player taps the land for mana, like I said, deals 1 damage to that player. Now, potentially you can mix this in potentially with green and have mana docks, so you could use your mana docks and instead of tapping your own lands. There is ways around this and doing different things with Mana Barbs, but for me, everyone needs to play spells, and majority of the time they are going to need to be tapping lands. So get this into an aggressive red commander deck potentially, or if you've got any ideas of a modern deck with Mana Barbs, that would be really cool as well. I'd probably go the Gruul and then have loads of Mana Dogs, so it wouldn't potentially damage you quite as much. Mana Barbs is a very good card to have in your collection. It's a little bit different, and I think it's a nice card to pick up. The next great card for your collection, under $1, is Prototype Portal. This is a 4-mana artifact printed in Mirrodin and also in a commander set as well. So this enters the battlefield, you get to imprint. You may exile an artifact card from your hand. You pay X, tap it, put a token that's a copy of the exile card onto the battlefield. X is the coveted mana cost of that card. Now, with so many great artifacts that you can literally abuse in Commander, it'd be crazy not to try and do stuff with this and put it in your collection. Any type of artifact deck, this is going to be brilliant for you. And at 4 mana, it's pretty cheap as well. What can you imprint on it? Maybe something like, really mean and something like a duplicate. When that enters the battlefield, imprint, you may exile a target non-token creature. That would just, to me, be really, really mean. Other great cards you could also imprint onto it. How about Lotus Bloom? Just imprint a Lotus Bloom on it and just get that, that untold mana that you want to do, sacrificing the Lotus Bloom because you've imprinted it and then just getting that extra mana all the time. I think that'd be a really cool thing. There's definitely, a plethora of artifacts that you can do with Prototype Portal, and I think it'd be a great addition to any commander deck. The next card we look at is from a recent set, Kaladesh Verdurous Gearhulk. Now this absolutely ripped through standard, and for me, if you're playing in any type of big green stompy deck, maybe in modern or anything like that, this is a card that is pretty sweet. For 5 mana, it's an artifact as well. It's a 4/4 trampler, but when it enters the battlefield, you get to distribute 4 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. So you can even put it on the Gearhulk if you decide you want to do that as well. You can have an 8/8 trampler for 5. Now, that is really good, but potentially this can come in and then just build up other creatures, maybe go onto some flyers or anything like that, and just basically, you know, it could be a win con just by playing this card. It's a potential win con card that you might need to get that extra damage over. I think for under $1, Vidira's Gearhulk, I remember that being a little bit more expensive than that in standard when it was in there, but obviously with standard cards rotating now, cards will drop, and you know, there's probably a lot of competition at 5 mana in a lot of competitive commander decks and everything like that, but for me, this is very good. You know, it's a very good card. It can win games. You can pump it up in maybe some kind of, you know, red-green deck that you're just going to go all in. It's got trample, 8 counters, put more counters on it, and just stomp your way to victory with the Gearhulk. I do like the Gearhulks. The favourite one for me was the blue one, of course, because you know I'm a blue mage. But Vidira's Gearhulk will definitely be a good addition to your collection. The last card we're looking at is Semester's End. I think for 4 mana, this instant speed from a recent standard set is a good card to pick up. We've had cards like Eerie Interlude before that do well and see play in, you know, commander decks and everything like that. They blink effect. That is actually 1 mana less, but this is a slight, you know, you get a slight increase for that extra 1 mana here because you get to exile planeswalkers as well. So it's not just creatures, it's exile any number of creatures and or planeswalkers you control. Beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under his owner's control. They end with additional 1/1 counters or loyalty counters if they're a planeswalker. So for me, this is, you know, just a step up on Eerie Interlude. Yes, you're paying 1 more mana, but I think, you know, I've played against this in Commander as well, and it, you know, it was very good. They blinked their team, they come back in, they even blinked some planeswalkers. They minus the ability on a planeswalker, so it went to a, you know, low loyalty, and then it just came back with a high loyalty again, which is really good, and with an extra counter on top. So for me, Semester's End, recent standard card. So if you've pulled this, I think this is, you know, and you're thinking, oh, maybe it's not so good. I think you've got a good card in your collection here. I looked into it a little bit more when I started putting loads of them myself, and then actually thought, I play Eerie Interlude in a few little blink decks, and I think Semester's End could definitely be a good job and a decent card for your collection too. So this was the first episode of 5 great cards for your collection that you don't believe are under $1. I'm going to be, you know, doing these quite often, so hopefully, you know, budget videos, people do like them. I did a poll and everyone loves a bit of budget, so this is another series, you know, for the budget fans out there. And, you know, potentially you can pick some of these cards up. Maybe you've already got them in your collection and you didn't know, you've forgotten about them, and, you know, you've got some good cards sitting there. Let me know what you think of the series. Please put a nice comment and like on the video if you enjoyed it. And obviously subscribe if you're new to the channel. We do lots of other budget stuff here. But big shout out to all my Patreons. If that's something you're interested in, you can support me for as little as $1 a month. It really helps make the videos and helps me more than you know. Anyway, you lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.